Welcome, everyone that's here tonight live. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your evening here having tea and talking about the Reiki precepts and seeing how tea and Reiki just really work so beautifully together. And also, welcome to the viewers who are watching in the future, watching on Zoom. Thank you for choosing this video, and I hope that you gain something of value from it as well. So I thought it'd be fun tonight to put in the chat what tea you're drinking. Maybe also what sign of spring, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, what sign of spring that you've noticed this week? Because we're in this beautiful transitional time. And I can say there is a big clump of daffodils in my backyard that is just about to bloom. They're right at the cusp. So that's been very exciting to see. I can share what I have. I have a Taiwanese oolong in this little shell. This particular tea, it's actually quite green, so it has a grassier flavor than some of the more heavily roasted oolongs. If you've had sort of a darker oolong ever, this just feels also like a really nice spring tea. Let me start with telling you a little bit about who I am and what this session is going to be like. So my name is Sara Boan. I'm part of the Fire and Spirit Reiki Practitioners for Peace. So happy to be part of this group, bringing peace and a nice uplifting energy to the world when we really need it. And we all need this love and this connection. I am a Reiki practitioner. I studied with Anna from Fire and Spirit and with Kathleen Prasad from the Let Animals Lead Reiki. And my cat just came in. You might hear him. He has a very sweet meow. But I'm also a therapeutic harpist, and I am a practitioner of Cha Dao, which is the way of tea. I'll be talking about Cha Dao as well as Reiki. I want to tell you about what tonight's session will look like so you know the general flow of things. So we're going to start with introductions, which we're doing right now. We will move on to a brief discussion of what Reiki is, what Sha Dao is, and how they work just so beautifully together in this lovely synergistic way. We'll move on to talking about the Reiki precepts. And in particular, we're going to focus on the second line of the Reiki precepts, which is, I will not anger. So tonight's session is focused on anger. And depending on what type of person you are, you might experience anger in a really hot, fiery way that sort of just consumes you and explosive type of anger. Or you might feel more of a simmering irritation. I'm more of a simmering irritation type. So I will explain a little bit more about how that has influenced the way that I have a version of my own precepts or my own version of the Reiki precepts. We'll discuss that. After that, we'll have a short guided meditation where we're going to explore in the body and in the mind what happens when we feel angry, where in the body it shows up, how it influences the way that we, go about our lives in the world. And this will be something that if you don't feel safe, if you don't feel like, sort of exploring the different, I almost want to say textures of anger in the body, you're more than welcome to just sit, take some nice breaths. We will end in a nice uplifting place though. After the guided meditation, we're going to have a session of approximately 20 minutes where we will sit and listen to some beautiful music and just have silent tea together. I think there's something really healing about sitting together, even if we are separated physically, whether you're tuning in tonight or you're tuning in the future, there's something really special about being present and having tea together in a meditative way. And I'll teach you a little bit more about that as well. So, Reiki means spiritually guided life force energy. This is an energy that's present everywhere, in everyone, everything, universal and limitless. And Reiki it's not a religion. It is never harmful. That's a really lovely thing with Reiki. If you are offering Reiki to yourself through a self-healing practice, it's only going to help. And even if that help is just having a moment of relaxation, it's going to be beneficial. I think it's really interesting with Reiki that sometimes there's a preconception that Reiki is always hands-on and it's always on another person. And hands-on Reiki is absolutely a part of Reiki, but you can also experience Reiki with the hands just hovering over the body, and you'll feel an energetic exchange happening that way. And also, it can be shared distantly very effectively. I've experienced this on both sides. And there's a real magic in the intent and having an intent to channel this limitless energy, to bring it to the body, whether to yourself or to others. And it's an incredible practice. It was founded by Mikao Usui, who was a Japanese man living in, I believe he was born in the late 1800s, but it was in the 1920s that Reiki sort of came to him. He was on Mount Kurama. He had a transformative experience, spiritual experience, and wanted to share what had, happened to him. He sort of had some spontaneous self-healing and he found students, and Reiki has been spread throughout the world ever since. I'm really grateful to have studied with Anna. She's a fantastic teacher for anyone who is looking to study Reiki or have Reiki sessions. And I'm really grateful that she brought together our group of the Reiki practitioners for peace. So next I wanted to talk about Cha Dao, which is the way of tea. And when I say the way of tea, the way, the W-A-Y, the W is capitalized. And that comes from the Taoist tradition of tea being a way meaning a spiritual path. There are so many paths that each of us can find in our lives to help us live a life that is meaningful and full of wisdom and kindness and intention. And preparing tea in a mindful way, brewing the tea, sharing the tea, studying the tea, it has that transformative ability to transform one's life. I've been practicing Cha Dao for about 10 years. I have a tea ceremony every morning. It's not a chore. I think for people who practice yoga or qigong or different spiritual traditions, would also say that, it's not a chore when it resonates with you. And tea is definitely my capital W way. So tonight, I will be brewing tea with a side handle pot when we have our tea session that will happen after our guided meditation. And I invite you to drink tea along with me. And any way that you brew is absolutely fine. I certainly don't expect everyone to have a fancy side-handled pot and some tea bowls. So any way you want to brew is perfect. The last time we had this tea meditation session a month ago, I demonstrated a very simple way to brew tea, which is to put whole tea leaves in a bowl and just pour hot water on top. And it's really nice. The tea leaves will sink to the bottom. So you'll be drinking from the bowl, the leaves are sinking to the bottom, and you can keep adding water and just infusing those same leaves. So it's a very, very simple way to brew. And then, of course, having a bag of tea in a mug is fantastic. I do that all the time still, even though I have my fancy teaware. We'll be covering a few different types of tea brewing throughout this series, which will be over the next 4 months. So it'll be 6 sessions in all. Something really special about Cha Dao is it teaches alongside cultivating a spiritual life, also teaches the importance of being connected to nature and how we are so connected to one another, no matter our differences. We're connected to the nature all around us. Something I like to do with my tea sessions is to always bring something in from outside just to remind me, even though I'm indoors right now, I have artificial light shining on me so you can see my face. Just being able to bring in something from the outdoors, like this larch branch that fell down in my yard. It's just that reminder that there really is no separation. And that's something I'm really grateful for in the Cha Dao teachings. So the way that Cha Dao and Reiki work so well together, at least in my experience, is Reiki. There are multiple types of meditations that are taught through Reiki trainings, and I find that starting with those meditations before I have a tea ceremony deepens both practices. And by combining the Reiki meditations, if you're a practitioner, you'll know Joshin Kokyuho. I find that sitting down, practicing Joshin Kokyuho while my water is heating puts me in a better headspace for being here with my tea. And then I'm able to go into a deeper meditation with the tea. So together they work really harmoniously, and I'm able to go about my day in in a better state of mind. And it's because the Reiki and the tea work so well together. So I highly recommend, if you're interested in Reiki and interested in tea, even just taking a mug of tea, a tea that's maybe your favorite tea or a tea you've never tried before, and coming to tea with this meditative state of mind. And you also have an opportunity to practice that tonight when we do I call it sometimes an inner journey, an inner tea journey. We'll all be drinking tea together, but having, individualized experiences as well. And if you have any questions, you can pop them in the chat, but we will have time at the end for questions and sharing as well. Next, we're going to move on to the Reiki Precepts, because tonight we're going to be focusing in on one line of the Reiki Precepts. And that's what's lovely about this 6-part series. Each month, each session, we'll be focusing on one of the lines of the precepts. And there are 6 lines. So we're on the 2nd line tonight. Mikao Usui, the founder of Reiki, wrote these precepts, and the idea of the precepts is they're guideposts for living a beautiful, harmonious life full of kindness and integrity and wisdom and spirituality. They're very concise, they're very succinct, and they're very profound. So I'm going to read to you Mikao Usui's precepts, and then I will share with you the precepts that I have slightly changed from Mikao Usui's. This is a common thing I've noticed among practitioners, that it's taking the principles and just sort of changing the wording a little bit to make them more meaningful to each person. So I'll share those with you as well. But Mikao Usui's Reiki precepts go like this. Just for today, I will not anger. I will not worry. I will be grateful. I will do my work honestly. I will be kind to myself and all beings. It's really just a few words, but there's so much contained in those words. I'll read it one more time for those of you who may have never heard this before. Just for today, I will not anger. I will not worry. I will be grateful. I will do my work honestly. I will be kind to myself and all beings. Ooh, those are lofty goals, in my opinion. And I have noticed that when I've shared these precepts with other people who aren't Reiki practitioners, there seems to always be one of the precepts that sort of hits harder than others. Like, ooh, that's somewhere that, I know I need to maybe put some more effort in, some more experimentation. And for me personally, it's I will not worry, but I will not anger is a tough one too. There's a lot to explore there, and we'll be doing some of that tonight. I wanted to share the precepts in the way that I've slightly rewritten them to be a little more meaningful to me personally, but still preserve the spirit of Mikao Usui's precepts. So my precepts go like this. Just for today, I will choose patience over irritation. I will choose trust over fear. I will be grateful for my many blessings. I will do my work with honesty and integrity, and I will be kind and compassionate to myself and all beings. Those feel right to me, but we all have our slightly different takes. And I've been inspired by other practitioners to slightly change up my precepts. They're sort of always evolving. You'll notice that in Usui's precepts, there is, I will not anger. And in the way that I like to use the precepts, I say, I will choose patience over irritation. You could say anger if you wanted. I am a person that tends to get more irritated than angry, so that works a little bit better for me. But also, I will choose patience over anger. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's another lofty, hopeful ideal that we're, always striving for. So what we'll be doing tonight is keeping this in mind, keeping this idea of I will not anger, or I will choose patience over irritation. I will choose patience over anger. Just sitting with that and thinking, what does that feel like? The idea of trying not to get angry, not to get irritated, to choose patience instead. Personally, that helps a lot to me. Um, I like the idea of having more of an affirmation style with this precept. I will choose. I can feel that in my body. I'm curious if maybe you can too. The idea of being able to choose something rather than to say just no to something versus I can choose something different. So what we'll be doing now is a short guided meditation. We're going to explore in a gentle and curious way what anger feels like in the body and how we might transform that anger into something different, something lighter, something that's not so all-consuming and restrictive, and to view anger with patience, but also not to allow ourselves to be walked on. Having patience doesn't mean we're going to put up with things that are unjust. Having patience means we're being kinder to ourselves in the process. So I just invite you to find your most comfortable seat. I'll do the same. And you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable or leave them open. And just start to take some nice deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose. Maybe a nice cleansing exhale. Feel those shoulders drop. Just continue with that nice, slow, even breath. And just settle into your body. See how things feel today. Check in and say, how are you doing? How are things today? The American Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron talks about how we each have weather, the weather that is our feelings and thoughts and emotions. Sometimes we might not realize what our weather is until we sit down and try to be still and quiet. And oh, there's the thunderstorm. Maybe your weather is rainy full of thunder and wind. Maybe it's very still, peaceful. Whatever it is, it's just perfect. So still taking those nice deep breaths, just imagine this beautiful white light above your head, above your crown, just all the good things in that white light. And as you take your next inhale, imagine that light just slowly descending down your body, down to your abdomen. And try that again on your breath cycle. Imagine that light above your crown. On an inhale, draw that light down, just melting away tension, storing it in your abdomen, this beautiful spiritual center where we store our vital energy, life force energy. And again, visualize that light above your head and then draw it down. Just melt away the tension and feel it settle and ground in your abdomen. And if you like, you can repeat that a couple more times. And at the end, when you gather the energy, when you exhale, imagine that energy just radiating out through every pore in your body. It's beautiful, sort of little bloom of a white healing energy, white or golden, whatever feels best to you. Taking in the energy, allowing it to transform you, and then sending it out. And now, if you feel comfortable and if you feel safe, we're going to explore what anger feels like in the body, where it shows up, how it feels, maybe even how it looks. So I invite you to think back to a situation. It can be recently, it can be in the past, a situation when something happened and you were so angry or so irritated. And just, gently lean into this sensation. Don't push yourself so hard that it's just too much, but just with a spirit of curiosity, just lean into that memory. See what happens in your body. See if you notice a tightening anywhere. A tightening, maybe a feeling of resistance, of wanting to recoil or pull away. And imagine that you're sort of walking around this memory. You're apart from it. You're safe. You're safe. You're here. But you're looking at this memory from different angles. Maybe from the sides. You're walking around the perimeter of the memory. You can look from above. Just see where in your body, as you remember this anger or this irritation, see where you feel it. And then let your attention go to that area in your body. And just sit with that feeling. It can be very uncomfortable. And if at any time it feels like too much, just, pull yourself away energetically. You're safe. You're here. You're here. You're safe. But if you're still leaning into that feeling, that uncomfortable feeling, see if you can assign that feeling a color. Does a color come up to you at all? And it's okay if nothing comes up. There's no right or wrong. You might see a color. You might even see a shape or sense a texture. And we'll just sit with that uncomfortable feeling for just another moment. not much longer. Just see what's happening in your body, what's happening in your mind. And now, if you feel comfortable, place your hands on the place in your body where you feel that tension, where you feel that remembered tension from this memory. And I invite you to just imagine that bright white light that we visualize together above the crown. Imagine that energy coming down again into your palms, warming your hands, and your hands sending that beautiful, bright, warming energy to the part of your body that remembers the anger or the irritation. See if things start to change. Maybe the edges of the anger, the memory of the anger, start to become a little smoother, not so jagged. The color might change if you saw color. Just keep imagining sending this beautiful energy to your body, your brave body. Because to be patient in times of anger and irritation, to even attempt just a moment of patience, a moment of maybe taking a breath before speaking back to someone who's spoken to you in anger. Just taking that single breath is so brave. Take another nice deep breath. Visualize that beautiful energy just radiating to the place that needs it most. And then throughout your whole body. If you like, you can even imagine that energy radiating out to other people who need that energy as well. Because we're all humans together on this planet, experiencing life together, the ups and downs. And when you feel like the energy has shifted the memory of the anger in your body, and you feel more comfortable, you can start to slowly come back and maybe linger on the change that you may have experienced. And just let your body know that it's very safe. It's safe right now. You can lower your hands from wherever they've been on your body. And we'll take one more nice, deep, cleansing breath. So a deep inhale and a sigh exhale. Now we'll move on to our tea meditation. So we'll be drinking tea together for about 20 minutes. And as you have your tea, allow your tea to be your meditative anchor. You might want to reflect on your experience from the guided meditation, or you're welcome to reflect on the Reiki precept, I will not anger. or I will choose patience over irritation, or patience over anger. Or you may just want to be, quiet, see what the tea brings up for you. Sometimes just the act of drinking tea in a nice, quiet way with some beautiful music can be deeply transformative. You can experience the flavors and the aromas, the temperature of your teaware, the temperature of the tea as you drink it, the sound of your 17-year-old cat telling you he probably wants some treats, but he'll have to wait. And you are welcome to have your cameras on or off. I will be serving tea, 3 cups tonight, or rather 3 bowls. Place those out right now. I'll just give a very brief overview of tea served in a side handle pot. So I have 3 bowls out, and there are for 3 different sets of people. This bowl right here is for all of us here tonight, all of you present tonight. So this will be for you, sent out energetically. The second bowl is for everyone who's watching in the future. So if you're here on Zoom and you're coming from a different, from the future, you're joining us from the future, this bowl is for you, and this bowl is for me. So I invite you all to get comfortable. I'm going to mute my audio and mute my cat, but have some beautiful music on for you. And I will see you in 20 minutes. Enjoy this inner journey, however it serves you best. All right. I invite you all to make your way back from your inner journey. And to everyone watching on Zoom, thank you so much for joining us.